Hey everyone, it's PB at Kotaku. Anime Expo passed recently. I've been attending this convention for a really long time, since 2005. Actually, that's not true. The last time I attended was in 2019. I was originally signed up for Anime Expo 2020, but we all know what happened then. When Anime Expo reopened in 2022, I had no urge to go back. By the end of 2019, I was traveling to Japan, and with regular exposure to Akihabara, I felt I had no reason to be at Anime Expo. But enough of that. The main reason for this video is to go over the figure announcements and figure updates made at the convention. Back then, Anime Expo wasn't really a place where figures got announced. If we were lucky, we might get a figure update. But things are different now, and I'm really glad to see figure announcements being made at Anime Expo. Even though I'm not an attendee anymore, I'm excited to see what comes out of the convention. There's not a huge list of things to check out, nowhere near the amount of stuff shown at Smilefest 2024. Nevertheless, let's get into it. Good Smile Company was the main contributor for figure updates and announcements at Anime Expo. If you want to see more details, check out their social media posts between July 4th and July 7th. The first of the reveals was among Good Smile's Nendoroid line. If you're not familiar with that, it's their line of plastic model kits. Nendoroid mostly consists of giant robots, so the line is pretty much a competitor to Bandai's Gundam model kits. Good Smile showed off an unpainted prototype of the Slaughter Spine combat class machine from Horizon Forbidden West. I wonder what the size of this thing is going to be. It looks huge. A few pop-up parade figures were unveiled as well. First one was a white dress version of Monica, the poster girl of Doki Doki Literature Club. Like with the Smilefest reveals, there's only single images for many of the reveals. I'm not really familiar with this series, but Monica looks nice. From Valhalla Cyberpunk Bartender Action, which is a bit of a mouthful, Jill Stingray L-Size was unveiled. Now I know next to nothing about this game. A quick Google search tells me this is a visual novel, and that's about as far as my research went. Moving on to something I'm more familiar with and I'm really looking forward to. Another pop-up parade L-size figure, this one of the leader of Honnoji Gakuen, Kiryuin Satsuki. She's actually wearing her most recognizable outfit, Uniform Junketsu. Can you believe there's only one other pre-painted figure of Satsuki wearing the specific outfit? And it's a dinky little prize figure. There's not even a scale figure of Satsuki wearing Uniform Junketsu. Heck, Good Smile even made a figure of Satsuki wearing Uniform Senketsu before Uniform Junketsu. I don't know how that decision was made. Also, since pop-up parades are more in line with prize figures, there's still no scale figure of Satsuki in this form. Regardless of semantics, I think this fills the gap just fine, and I'm definitely buying this. Moving on to some Nendoroids. So, this is Pomni from the Amazing Digital Circus. Okay, another thing I know absolutely nothing about. Let's do a search. The Amazing Digital Circus is an Australian-American meow 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 meow. So it's another indie property. It's really interesting to see Good Smile make figures of characters from indie properties. There's Nendoroids from Five Nights at Freddy's, Undertale, and one of my personal faves, Shantae. When comparing Nendoroid Pomni to an illustration of her, it's easy to see why Good Smile is making a Nendoroid of this character. Pomni fits the style and converts the Nendoroid format seamlessly. Yet another character who makes for a perfect Nendoroid. I actually watched an episode of The Amazing Digital Circus and I was really impressed. It's really well made. The animation and graphics are great, and if I didn't learn beforehand that this was done by an indie studio, I would have thought this was some big budget project. From another indie property, here's an unpainted prototype of Nendoroid Melano from Hades 2. I've only heard great things about this game. I didn't even know there was a second one. I've been under a rock when it comes to video games lately. 3 Nendoroids from Gintama were also shown off. Sakura Gintoki, Shimura Shinpachi, and Kagura. I haven't watched Gintama, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. I was surprised to see these are the first Nendoroids for the series, especially when it's apparently so popular. From Silent Hill 2, here's a Nendoroid Red Pyramid thing, also known as Pyramid Head. Like with the Silent Hill 2 remake, I'm not really impressed. The Nendoroid seems a little flat and lifeless. Again, like the Silent Hill 2 remake. I feel as if the Nendoroid here almost looks like a render instead of an actual physical prototype. Maybe my eyes are deceiving me here. Hopefully the future photos are better. Next Nendoroid is Vshojo Zentrea. If you're not familiar with Vshojo, it's a VTuber company, and if you're not familiar with VTubers, well, look it up. If you're familiar with the VTuber space, I think this next one is quite special. Nendoroid DokiBird. This VTuber previously worked under contract with Japanese VTuber company Niji Sanji, using the alias Selen Tatsuki. Recently, there was really big drama between DokiBird and Niji Sanji. The TLDR was Niji Sanji was being toxic as and unjustly fired Selen Tatsuki / DokiBird. I'm not gonna get into the nitty gritty of the situation, but if you want some in-depth takes on it, check out these videos here and I'll link them in the description. Anyways, the fact that DokiBird's got a Nendoroid coming, I feel, is a massive W for her, and a well-deserved middle finger and big-ass L to Niji Sanji. What makes this even sweeter is at Anime Expo, DokiBird's booth was popping off, whereas Niji Sanji's booth was deserted. Now that is poetic justice. You can't make this up. Now speaking of VTubers, the vast majority of Good Smiles unveils were of VTubers. Here's Vshojo's Ironmouth getting a pop-up parade L-size figure, a Figma of Hololive's Watson Amelia, and speaking of Hololive, look at all these Nendoroid announcements. Iris, Sarah's Fauna, Orochrony, Nanashi Mume, Hako's Bales, sorry if I'm saying these names wrong, Fuwala and Mokoko Abyssguard, and it doesn't stop there. The Abyssguard duo are getting pop-up parade figures too. You may or may not have noticed I made zero mention of scale figures, but that ends now. Again from Hololive, scale figures of Gawr and Mori Calliope were announced. If you're both a figure collector and a VTuber enjoyer, this was probably like Christmas for you. Now let's move away from Good Smile and onto my favorite line of figures, the Kotobukiya Bishoujo series. There were a handful of announcements. First, we got 2 teasers. First was Draculaura from Monster High. Draculaura will be the very first Vshojo from Monster High. Western properties have been typically the main focus of the Vshojo line. It initially started with Marvel and DC, but they've been branching out to other properties like G.I. Joe and MLP. Speaking of MLP, Princess Cadence and Queen Chrysalis are joining the MLP Vshojo lineup. It kinda went dead after the Miku Hatsune Pony Vshojo release, so I thought the line was done. Also, Kotobukiya are re-releasing Pinkie Pie. MLP Vshojo are hella expensive now, so this is your chance to get her for retail if you passed her up originally. The next teaser was Vampirella. Finally, Vshojo are branching to comic characters outside of Marvel and DC Comics. I hope this opens the door for Vshojo figures of characters from Image Comics or even Wildstorm, which I know is technically DC. There's 2 other characters I always think of whenever Vampirella is brought up. One of them is Witchblade, and the other is Lady Death. I would love to see a Witchblade Vshojo, but if a Lady Death Vshojo ever became a reality, my head would explode. Okay, enough with the wish casting. This year actually marks the 15th anniversary of the Vshojo series, and to commemorate that, the main Vshojo reveal at Anime Expo was a completed prototype Vshojo of Sadako Yamamura from The Ring. I don't think I've ever seen Sadako look this cute or elegant. Jeez, that kinda sounds like a modern anime title. Anyways, she looks really solid. The VHS tape base looks rather unique, and she's got plenty of faceplate options. You could go full face cover, partial soft eye, or if you pre-order from Sideshow Collectibles, you could get the whole crazy stink eye. If you enjoyed these announcements, check out my Smilefest video to see if any of those reveals got past you. Oh yeah, one more thing. Wonfes 2024 Summer is happening soon on July 24th. I may or may not talk about it 2 weeks after it ends. We'll see. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, Patreon's link down low, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.